Hello there and Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Hope you had a great holiday and that you are looking forward to all of the excitement of the new year. Now it's the very beginning of January 2023 and here in Hong Kong it's gone a bit cold. I am wearing a tweed jacket, which is unusual in this cupboard that I call a home office, or it's more of a games room, to be honest, but let's be honest, let's not talk too much about that. But I thought I'd do a very early video for the year. This is really more of a rambling on about things more than anything else, because there's a comment on my predictions video, which I put out just before Christmas, from at 53 miles per hour. So hello to you, whoever you are, and thank you, because you've inspired me to do this, around AI, artificial intelligence, and its use in the creative world. Now, there's been lots of discussion over the years about artificial intelligence and how, just like in the Terminator, it will take over the world and destroy us all. You will have Arnold Schwarzenegger look-alike. He's essentially going around shooting humans, which is probably not going to happen. I don't think Elon Musk is working on anything along those lines at the moment, but of course you never know. But AI is impacting us very much, and there's been lots of discussion of it, about how it's used in public life, how it impacts on individuals, and you see it all around the world. So you've seen it in the US. AI, the use of AI in sentencing has been a concern because AI automatically uses the biases of whoever codes the AI. So you find that certain social groups get recommendations for longer sentences if an AI is used than other social groups, which is a bit of a problem. You've also seen the EU and other jurisdictions challenge how AI is used to essentially make automated decisions about someone. So if you apply for some sort of benefit and the AI just goes bip, 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 that's not the noise that an AI makes, and then says no, computer says no, and you essentially get thrown out, you don't have access to something that you should normally have access to. There's an attempt to regulate and potentially outlaw that, essentially stopping AI from making decisions where no human is involved, making sure that at some point in the process a human does actually feature. Because if you've ever used an automated chatbot, and I bet you have, you may have done that without ever noticing, you will know how frustrating it is when you can't actually get your message across and the AI doesn't seem to be a human being and doesn't actually help you in any way. And you end up with that, thank you for your question, hope you've helped you, had a good day, is there anything else I can help you with? And you type angrily, answer the question, and they won't. But I don't think I've ever talked about AI in the creative industries. And one of the things that I mentioned in my predictions is that we may see some pushback against how AI is used in things like the art world, but it also could apply to things like music, to video gaming, to essentially anywhere where you create some sort of artistic asset. Now, I have been a lawyer for a long time. And the reason I became a tech lawyer is, one, I enjoyed tech. Two, didn't really know what to do, but thought law might be fun. Three, it funds my addiction being vinyl records and music. I love music and I love new music more than anything else. I think when you can find a band you've never heard of and you think, wow, these guys are great, particularly if you've never seen them before and they've just started, it's incredibly addictive process. I love books. You can probably tell that from behind me. I love comic books. You can't see through there, but if you could, there's a whole rack of comic books. And I love movies. I guess I'm one of those people who just loves media in all its many formats, which is maybe why I'm a TMT lawyer. But I love the fact that it's all created by people. So I have, for example, favorite authors. Neil Gaiman, one of my favorite authors, some of my favorite directors, Terry Gilliam, David Lynch, who I'm a huge fan of, and favorite artists as well. I have basically grown to love these things because there's a human connection to them. But what if all of our media starts to be created by artificial intelligence? So I mentioned the Lensa app, and I don't mean to pick on it again, but it's an example of an AI where you feed it some information, pictures of yourself. You say, I want some kind of cool, funky pictures of me, some portraits, AI-generated portraits. It goes away and gives you some cool and funky AI-generated portraits. But the problem is, those portraits are created essentially by an AI algorithm. The way that they work is they will take the biases of their creator, which means, quite interestingly, if you're female and you input your photos, you tend to get more sexualized results than you would if you put in a male individual. That's a terrible thing to say. But it does encourage the biases of that. So already you've got that as a point, as an issue with the AI. The other one is that the AI is just sucking up other pictures available from wherever its source is. It could just be Google Images for all we know. and essentially recreating versions of those. So it's being inspired by, or indeed copying in many ways, the art of others that have been created by individuals, and ultimately making it its own. So rather than you getting an artist who would probably charge hundreds of dollars to create some sort of artwork, you can pay a few dollars to an AI and bing, you get the results you want. Now that's convenient and that's cool, but there's lots of issues here, and the cat, I think, is very much out the bag on how AI will impact the creative industries. As I said earlier, every piece of art we consume up until recently has been created sometimes by a committee of Hollywood executives, but more often it will be the inspiration of one or more individuals, and they will put their heart and soul into it. If you get an AI to commission some artwork, it is literally just crunching some numbers, looking at some sources and feeding you something that it thinks you want. But it's cheaper. And one of the things that we have, and one of the things we've seen with the commoditization of so many things in the world, and lawyers have got as much to do with this as anyone else, is that as things become cheaper, people go for the cheapest option. Why pay, if you're doing an advertising campaign, why would you pay a fortune for some artist to produce some artwork when you could just get an AI to spit something out which will probably do the job just as well, if not better? And what does that then do to the art community? Now, I think, and this may seem awfully doom mongering, but it is the start of a new year, and things seem to always go wrong at the beginning of New Year's, given what happened in 2020 and here in Hong Kong in 2022, is that this could spell real problems for the art world, for the creative industry world in general. So the reason I say this is that copyright is a thing that you automatically get. If you create a piece of artwork, if you write a book, you record a video like this one, you produce a film, you write some music, you automatically get copyright in whatever you have produced. It's yours. You may be able to assign it either with a contract, an employment contract or a design contract or whatever to someone else. But if you create it and you do nothing, it is yours. You've created that artwork. As long as you can prove you created it, then you will own the copyright in it. And you can sue someone for damages if they then copy you, if they rip you off. Things that I've done in the past, not necessarily as part of a big law firm, is where friends who are artists have made designs and they've been copied by, say, a big fashion brand and used as a picture on a t-shirt that's being sold in a store, and they go, hang on, that's my image. And I've helped them then contact the person who's created the t-shirt, say, look, actually you've taken this image off the internet that's produced by this person, can you please pay essentially some royalties? And most times they do. It's very rare they don't. And that's great because you can identify who it is. But if your artwork is being encroached upon by an AI, if an AI is creating a song using bits of your song, if an AI is creating artwork that's part of your artwork, particularly if you're a new and coming artist, how do you find out who it was who did it? How do you find out who you should go after? Do you go after the person who's displaying the art who'll then say, yep, I'll take it down, but I don't have any money, but the AI continues to create images? Do you try and go after the person who's created the AI itself? It's very, very difficult to figure out what the recompense would be. Now, I would assume the path would be whoever's reproducing the artworks. If they're producing a picture that looks like yours, go after them. If they say an AI created, go after the AI creator. But that all then assumes you can trace them, find them, stop them, and that you've got the money to do it. And that's fine if you're a massive corporation. If you're someone like Getty's Images and say, well, these are our images, how dare you, we want this money or we will sue you. But if you're an individual, if you're someone who finds out that your art is being used because of an AI on the other side of the world, how are you going to have any control of that? How are you going to stop it? How are you going to have any way of essentially getting the recognition that you deserve? Also, it's not very difficult to code an AI to create an image using existing copyrighted images that is sufficiently different that it looks like a new work or a derivative work that isn't necessarily infringing on a person's copyright. And then your art gets ripped off, but you may have inspired some new art, but still you get no credit. So I don't think enough is being done to think about what the impact of AI will be on the creative industries. And I worry that it could mean that people always go for the cheapest option, it seems all too often, that we find more, and to be honest, artists and creatives had a pretty awful time generally with the pandemic and the fact that people seem to want to consume art for free, or they want to get a Spotify subscription rather than actually pay the artist whose music they enjoy. Just seems like another potential nail in their coffin, another thing they've got to fight. I'm curious what you think about this. I mean, should there be some sort of regulation? I mean, in theory, yes, but how would that regulation actually work? Or should there be some sort of help or some sort of law passed whereby if essentially you can prove to a beyond, not necessarily beyond a reasonable doubt, but to a probable degree, I suppose. Yeah, on the balance of probabilities that the AI has copied your artwork, then you can claim some sort of damages. That seems to be the way forward. But I assume that nothing will happen. One of the issues that we have with the very rapid development of AI is that the law can't keep up. And I don't think it will keep up until there's been considerable damage done to the way that art is produced around the world, how it is marketed, and how people who are trying to make a living in the art world, the fashion world, the photography world, how they can actually advance. Now, this is the same in other things. I mean, I remember giving a talk not too long, well, about 6 years ago now, it's quite a long time ago, at KPMG about how robots are stealing the jobs of people. And one of the arguments that was made back to me was like, well, those jobs are replaced by new jobs. But you can't necessarily then say, well, you're an artist who creates these great photos, now you should become a coder working on AI. It generally kind of defeats the point unless you're saying, well, actually, your role as a human being is purely to make money, pay taxes, and maybe eat, rather than having some sort of creative life. There we go, that's kind of my thoughts. I'm interested in what people think. I would quite like to do some sort of event on this with the creative industries, on the impact of what AI is having on the way that the art world is being affected. So if anyone's got any suggestions for that, do let me know either on LinkedIn or on YouTube or however you want to get in touch. You can email me if you can find it too. But that's it for now. Some food for thought. Are there any works that you think would be better off being replaced by AI? Could you essentially have some of the soaps such as EastEnders replaced by artificial intelligence? Perhaps you could, I don't know. But maybe they wouldn't be quite as gritty, or they'd become so gritty they'd fall into a terrible pit of grittiness and be just a miserable thing for everyone to watch. Maybe like some of my favourite directors actually, but there we go. Anyway, that's it for the moment. Hope you have a fantastic January and a fantastic 2023. I'll be back with something with a bit more substance, with some actual law content rather than me musing about how AI could essentially ruin lawyers too, but maybe nobody would be upset, but it could ruin the art world. But have a good one, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.